Welcome to another edition of Wired Lotus's YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making something special. We're going to be creating these lovely symmetrical ear wires. Alrighty then, let's go ahead and get started by looking at the tools. The tools are very important. First thing we're going to be looking at is the wire. I use round, dead soft wire. I have 5 inches and that's all I need in order to create both of these. And I just keep the wire together. I don't need to cut it in half. I'm going to need 2 steel bench blocks. These are quite heavy actually. I'm going to need what I do is I take a tongue depressor and I just put some double stick tape on there and put some sandpaper. This is 800 grit sandpaper. And I use that in conjunction with a cup burr. And a cup burr, you can buy these either in a kit, and here I have my kit, or you can buy them singularly. And this one here, you just need to make sure that it fits at the end of your 20 gauge wire so that you can just move that around a little bit and then just sand it in order to create a nice smooth end wire. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need your something round. I have a permanent marker here, and we need that just to create kind of that area where it's going to go here, right in the ear. And a ruler. We're going to need our ruler. Let's take a look for a moment at the tools that we're going to be using. The tools I use here, I use a flat pliers. This right here is a tweezer nose, but it's flat. There's no serration here on this. And the other thing that I have here is a round nose pliers. And I create the loops with these round nose pliers here. And I mark those so that I can make sure that both of my loops that are on the ear wires, here, let me show you what I'm talking about right here, that they're symmetrical. This is all about having symmetrical ear wires, so let's go ahead and make them symmetrical through and through. The other thing I'd like to point out, and I personally feel like this is one of the most important parts of working with wire as far as tools, and that is a good flush cutter. This is the 410 micro shear by Xuron, and I really like this because it has a nice sharp point to it. When I say flush cutters, the flat side you want towards the piece. That will give it a sheared 90-degree cut. The other side, if you take a look here, it's just indented a little bit, and that right there will it'll pinch the end a little bit, so you want that to be your waist. This towards the piece, this away from the piece. This right here can be bought by microtools.com if you want to find those. And oh, they come in these cute little packages like this right here. So let's go ahead, now that we've talked about all the tools that we're going to need, and let's go ahead and do a step-by-step process how to create these symmetrical ear wires. Here we are with our 5 inches of dead soft round wire. I'm just going to bend that so that the ends touch together. And then I'm going to continue to compress. Now this is dead soft and it might act a little bit wonky. So we want that fold to be a little bit stronger there. So we're going to bring in our flat nose pliers and we're just going to compress just a little bit, just to kind of make that fold just fold upon itself just a little bit more. Okay, so now we have that fold. It's a little closer together and our wire is now parallel. We're going to bring in our round nose pliers. I'm going to come in where I have marked those pliers. I'm going to feel where that wire is. If I can feel it, which I do, I need to slide it back into the barrel of the round nose pliers a little bit more, because if I don't and they stick out, then we're going to get a fish hook and we don't want that. So this maneuver, we're going to be creating our first loop. That's in the pliers right where the mark is, and I'm going to show you how this looks. I'm going to hold this firmly with my non-dominant hand, and the tool is held firmly with my dominant hand. I'm right-handed. So I'm going to come around. I'm going to adjust without moving the pliers out, and I'm going to go around again. And I'm just going to continue. It's just all a wrist motion. See, my wrist is just turning until that wire reaches the straight part. Okay, we can go ahead and pull out. We're going to use our ruler at this point, and we're going to bring the loop, the top of the loop at the 0 mark here on our ruler. We're going to bring in our flat pliers here at the 1/2 inch mark. And I want to show you what that looks like. Let me just put this back here on here. I'm going to bring this here on this 1/2 inch mark. Okay, we're here on the 1/2 inch mark. And what I'm going to do next is, if you notice, my pliers are located at the point where both wires are together. Very important. And then I'm going to hold this with my non-dominant hand, and I'm going to bend this at about 90-degree angle. It's a little bit more, but that's okay. We can work with that. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our round object. Here I have my marker, and I'm bringing it right into that bend, just like this. And now we're going to form that for our ear wire, bringing it down, around. Just trying to show you all the angles here that we have. You can kind of see, I'm going to pull that out, pull it in just a little bit more. Now, I'm going to create this little bend right in this area here. And the way I do that is I use no tools. I just use my fingers and I just compress that a little bit. And I can do that because this wire's dead soft. By the time we're done, it's not going to be dead soft anymore. And now I go ahead and I can pull that out. I need to make sure these wire ends are even. Everything's even because it's all done together and it's all connected by that fold. We're going to bring our flush cutters in right at the fold. We've got that fold there. Right there is that fold. And we're going to bring our flush cutters, the flat side, towards the left of this loop. And see how nice those fit in there? Do you see why it's just so important to have those strong tips that are in there? Very pointed, very easy to get in there. Love these. So anyway, put those in there, and we're going to, I cup and I cut. And the reason why I cup is so that my wire end doesn't go flying, that fold doesn't go flying. But if you take a look, wow, is that cool or what? Now we have symmetrical ear wires. Only one point. We need to go ahead and we need to close those loops there. So let's go ahead, and on that mark that we created earlier, we're going to just turn our wrist and we're just creating the loop. We've got one loop there, and we're going to put that in on the other wire, and we're going to create that other loop. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and use our cupper, and we're going to also use our little sanding file, and we're going to just kind of soften those ends a little bit. So I'm bringing that in, and I'm just going to just twist and turn that on the end of the wire so that that creates more of a smooth end. Going to do this, bring in here, bring our sanding file in, and I'm just going to further file that down. You can spend as much time as you want to, and sometimes I find myself kind of getting away with time with this and just really wanting it to be extra smooth. Over here it needs a little more. So you're going to do that on both wires. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work harden our wire. These molecules that are in these, that is in metal, have a tendency to gather up and get really tight, and that's called work hardening. And the way that you do that is by using steel. Okay, so we're going to take our wire, flatten it down here, and I'm going to take a steel bench block, and I'm going to just bring it down here on the wire that's on top of the other steel bench block. So we're just coming in, and we're going to flip it over. We're going to do it again, making sure that your edges don't hit. You want to really make sure that that's really work hardened well. So now I'm going to feel it. Yep, it's nice and springy if you take a look here. Now this right here, I'm going to show you, this right here isn't as springy. We're going to go ahead and bring that in, and we're just going to give it a few thwacks. Okay, and we have our ear wires. That's it. That's what we needed to do in order to create these symmetrical ear wires. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to remind you to give me a thumbs up so I can know that we're engaged here, and so that we can create this next video and make sure that we're right on track. This is a really great video for some of our other earrings that we have in order to create this really unique, one-of-a-kind type of ear wire. Thank you so much for joining me.